Started dating after a basketball cheerleader's dance, and I worked at Canals that night. And
Mother
I came
was a
up.
cheerleader?
Mother was a cheerleader. Yeah, yeah. She could holler and scream, and they didn't do acrobatics in those days. You know, they just boom, 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 and root and scroot and all that stuff. But it was good. She was a cheerleader, and after that dance, we ended up at her house.
This would have been what, senior year?
This would have been, oh yeah, this would have been in probably February of our senior year.
Okay.
Yeah. I really didn't even know her, to be honest with you. You see, because again, she came from the west side, you know, and I came from the north side, and so much you didn't really. In fact, there are people that lived around up where Gladys did, like the Constantine kids. We get talking about this. They figured the north side was out of bounds. That was a snooty, rooty bunch of people you didn't even want to know. I think Dad picked me up down the station. I remember I went up and saw your mother that very night, and we were sitting on the sofa in Lundstein, Major Lundstein. That would be the Salvation Army. You know, it was Etty's father. They were there, and he wanted to talk to me. And he was a sports enthusiast too, so we had to comment. And here's Gladys and I, and we hadn't really, you know, connected at all or anything like that. And finally, old CS said, he says, "We should all go to bed now and leave the young people alone." You know.
Good old CS.
Good old CS. So he understood things.
Now, Mother, she was still in Jamestown at the time, or?
Oh, Mother, then she went to Arizona with her dad. Her dad was, you know, had a bad case of asthma and, allergies and stuff like that, and he was having a tough time breathing, so he thought Arizona would do him some good. So he went out there, and Gladys went with him to really help him out financially, too, because she worked out there. And so she was there all of that year that I was at Allegheny. For my first year at Allegheny, she was out there. But they soon decided, he did it, CS, that is not where he wanted to be. I don't know what would have happened if he'd wanted to be there. You know, if Gladys would have stayed out there or come back here, I really, you know, it's hard to say. Because she was through with Bethel. She only went 2 years. And in fact, it was a financial thing. They, you know, the Carlson family had made money, but they didn't hang on to it too well, and they were not in a position to keep her in school. And she came home, and she worked at Post-Journal. Well, no, that was later. She worked at Post-Journal later, but she worked for Lawson's. And your grandma's the only one in the family ever got fired from a job that we know of. And it was my fault. There was a football game, and I said, "You'd be down at a football game." I said, "You know, there was a dance afterward and all that stuff there." And she went and told the boss that she was going to take Saturday morning off and go to a football game. And he said, "You can't have it off." She called me, and I said something about, "Well, you better get down here," you know, and something of words to that effect, or what, because I'd made plans for her and where to stay and all this stuff, and she tootled on down. And Monday she went to work, and the guy says, "You go home." He fired her. But then they were leaving for Arizona, I think, right after that. So I think that was it was.
When was Bethel?
Bethel she went to Bethel at 45, of course. And 45 and 46. Went fall of 45, fall of 46.
So she graduated from Bethel, so that's why she was back home.
Yeah.
And then you went off to Allegheny.
I went off to Allegheny, yeah.
And then she went to Arizona.
And she went to Arizona.
So she had her associate's degree.
She has an associate degree, sociology. Yeah.
Sociology? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. She's going to be a social worker.
Okay. So she's in Arizona, you're at Allegheny.
Yep.
Do you keep connecting?
Yeah, we wrote. Yeah, it was I don't know. I can't. You'd have to get her opinion too on this stuff. We don't know what you can't remember. What you're feeling. Was this girl I was going to marry, or was this a guy she was going to? You know, I don't know. That I expect it probably was thought of then. I don't know, because certainly she was going out and I was going out, and you know, I don't know. I really don't. But then she came back, and that 40. Be 48 then, I guess. And then we connected again and started going together.
So she's in Jamestown, you're at Allegheny, and you come home on weekends?
I came home then. Then I came home. I used to hitchhike home on weekends, yeah. Yeah, I did. And I'd take the train back on Monday morning. And Itch and I, we'd sit in the men's room when a guy was taking tickets. And then when we knew he was going through the thing, and we'd go back out and sit down, and we'd have tickets for next week, you know. We didn't have to buy them. I don't know. When did we decide that we were going to really be hooked together, Butch? I don't know.
Well, when you pinned me.
When what?
when I got your fraternity pin. And
All
that
right.
was the,
When was that?
well, that had to be
48?
just a year before we got engaged.
48.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give her my fraternity pin. I guess 48. So that shut off all the fun down at the beginning.
What was your nickname for her?
I was Butch because of being a butcher's daughter. That was Rolly that hung that on it, but that's all. I don't know why. I don't think she ever really cared for the name of Gladys neither. But I don't know. It's all characters that have that name and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. It just became easier to say or something like that. I don't know. But everybody in that gang knew her as Butch. You know, I mean, it was just she was
What'd they
Butcher's
call
daughter.
you?
What'd you call me?
What'd they call you?
Oh, I had all kinds of names, and I hated every one of them. I mean, I'd never mind my name Lyle, but I mean, it was Blondie and Pete, and Pete was okay, but Blondie, I hated that. I think I swung at a couple of guys, or I let them know that was, or Whitey. That was another name I didn't want. I don't want that Whitey. So, yeah.
Did she have a pet name for you?
I don't think so.
Nope.
No.
He was always Lyle.
Yeah, and the funny part of it, you know, it's I don't. You don't mind the name Greg, do you? I mean, yeah.
No.
And I never did mind my name. I mean, that was a point. I think on my Navy jacket I had Pete on that, and that. So for when I was in the Navy, I was called that. I guess I must have wanted to be. I don't know. But
So you're at Allegheny. She's up here. You had formal dances down at Allegheny.
oh yeah, she came down. Yeah.
She came down?
Yeah. And I was, well, you know, I was president of sophomore class.
Your junior year,
There's nothing there.
you decided to get married. Was that?
Well, yeah, well, it's been my second year at Allegheny. Yeah, that.
'Cause you only went 3 years.
That's right. That second year, when your mother came home, I gave her a pin. That was it. Yeah, I gave her the pin, and Rach wasn't too happy with that. I mean, well, just simply figuring I was too young to be thinking about anything like that. You know? I mean, I told her, I says it's just a gesture, you know. I mean, but she read into it, which, you know, basically most guys that did give pins away, that was a gal they ended up with anyway, whether it was college or where it was. And but that was it. She just thought it was a little premature. But then the next year, for Christmas, I bought the diamond ring, and Dad went down with me to the watch shop and helped me pick it out and all this stuff here. And you know, it was cast in stone then. So, and they didn't know how we were going to make ends meet. But you see what I did. My GI Bill paid more when I got married. And I did not take it this junior year because then I lived off the money I had in my bank account that I made at Gunnell's. I had a few $1,000s in the bank, and I used that money to get me through a second year and save my GI Bill, because I didn't have a lot of GI Bill because I wasn't in the service that long, but I had enough. So then I took as a married man in my last year, and that gave us enough to pay the rent and my books and stuff like this. And then Gladys worked for Sears catalog office, and I worked for Montgomery the Ward store. So, you know, we did okay. We didn't, you know, there was no real pinch on money. You know, we weren't rich or anything, but we could buy food, and we'd come home a lot of weekends. No, we did not. Not at Allegheny. We didn't come home on weekends. No, we did not.
You're fast forwarding here. At some point, you decided that you wanted to get married to her.
Yep.
And you went down and you picked out a ring. Did Mom know you were looking at a ring?
Yeah. I tried. I think I tried to keep it from. I went up and talked to her dad about, you know, I want to marry Gladys, you know, and then he thought, he says apparently I was the guy she wanted, you know, and she had other chances, he said, and we never did know she had any. Yeah, but I guess she could have certainly, but she just you know, you're the guy, and so we talked about it, and he gave his blessing on the whole deal, and so from there. She certainly knew what, you know, was. I mean, we'd been friends, or, you know, going together. My gosh, 4 or 5 years almost. You know, a long time since high school and service, and you know, I guess we knew each other pretty well by then. And you know, you had your ups and downs, and quit this and quit that, and did this and did that, and you know, and certainly it wasn't always a smooth ride because we did other things, you know, and. But we always kept in contact. I think that was the thing too. We you know, the letter writing would sometimes take a little longer from both ends, you know. But we'd always, you know, of course, through that 4 or 5 years, we never really forgot about one another. Put it that way. And then when she came home from Arizona, that was from there on in. I don't think that there's any question that we were going to be an item, I guess.
Yeah. When did you give her the wedding?
Christmas Eve.
Get your ring. Christmas Eve.
Christmas
You
Eve.
nervous?
I was very nervous. Yeah, I was very nervous. Yeah. I remember a sequence of events broke down that night. I somehow tied my shoes, broke the line, and I went to go out of the house. Mother and Dad, they were at some other Christmas party or something like that, and I pulled the doorknob, and it came right off my hand, and I had to go get a screwdriver. Just little things like that. I thought, what in the heck's happening here? But no, I got over to her, and I can't remember where I think we went out in the car, and I gave her a ring, and then we went to the Carlson's Christmas Eve thing. And so she could show it off, and like she says her own admission that there wasn't one soul that was excited about it, because they just felt that about time. Yeah, exactly. That's what it went on to.
This would have been in Christmas of what?
Would have been Christmas of 48.
48. And then you got married?
September of 49. Then we had the wedding, and Harold married us.
And that was on a Sunday, right?
Sunday it had to be because of meat market. Henry brought her down the aisle because her dad couldn't, and Harold, like I say, he married us.
No, at the time, CS had what? Parkinson's?
Parkinson's, yes, yeah, he was. I knew him, of course, from Gunnell's. I knew who he was long before I knew who Gladys was. So I knew him as a well man, and he was a big, healthy-looking man,
Was he tall?
No, not really, but not short neither. He was maybe my height, and not. Well, on the heavy side, rather stocky. He was a good-looking specimen of a man, and like I say, I knew him then. And but he went down, and most of the life that I was around with him, he was in bad shape, and it was too bad. He didn't have the last 4 or 5 years of good life. It was not easy. You become crippled up so bad, and and finally, that. He started on his mind and so forth, but that was just prior to his death, because I remember coming home and Gladys was so upset that he seemed to be losing something, and she really literally asked both of us to pray about him and that he wouldn't get into this, could go, and he did. He died within either that night or the next night. It was just a bingo. So the first time she's seen any evidence, and that's what happens with this Parkinson's when you've had it long enough. So it was. But yeah, we got married. Went to New York City for honeymoon, and stayed at Waldorf Astoria. Art got us stay. We saw they play. What was that play? Streetcar Named Desire, with that Greek guy. What the heck? No, doesn't matter now. But anyway, we got tickets to that, and we stayed at Waldorf Astoria, and then we stayed at the other big hotel, because we couldn't stay at Waldorf 2 nights. We stayed at the Concord or something like that, and then we headed up into New England, and our last night on the road, our last day prior to coming home, was at Cooperstown.
There you go.
So she was forewarned all about that. And so we had a great time, and I'd put a dent in my dad's car. First time I'd ever been in a parking ramp in Boston, and you go around and around and around, and I kept going faster, and there was guys pushing you too, And man, I'd come to a turn. Brand new Pontiac he had, and I nicked. I didn't do a lot of damage, but I mean, brand new car, and it was a good sized dent I put in that front of the car. And, then when we come home, the Hydromatic. It's a brand new car now. Dad got it really. He hurried up getting it for us to take on a honeymoon. Is what he did, and the Hydromatic went out on it. So when we got home, that poor guy, he had a dent in his car, and the transmission was. And it wasn't anything I'd done. It was just a faulty car. But he got it fixed up, and he never, he never said anything about it. Just we had a good time, and he took care of things. So
come back with any money?
No. We spent the last 39 cents we had for. I put some gas in the car in Sinclairville, and that was the end of it. I mean, we had 39 cents worth of popcorn in some place up near Buffalo. That was our lunch. So we come home with not a penny to our name. You didn't have credit cards in those days, so it was we were on a shoestring, and we didn't live high, I don't think. But of course, the Waldorf Astoria, that's going pretty good. But I think it was about $18 a night, something like that, in those days.
So this was early September. Then you had to be right back to school, right?
Then we went right from here. We came home, and we stayed. I would think maybe a few nights at our house, because Carlson's didn't have room for us, and then we went on down to Meadville and found an apartment. And I told you. Grandma Peterson came down and cleaned the place for us with Gladys's help, and Dad was never happy about that apartment, but We managed. And then she got pregnant at Allegheny with you.
The mother comes home one day and says, "Guess what? I'm pregnant."
Well, yeah, the strangest part of that, she'd verified this too, that I got sick too. You know how they say husbands, and never with the other kids, but with you, boy, I had a morning sickness, and this is true. And I don't vomit. I mean, I can count my hand how many times I've ever vomited in my life, and I did. And we put it together, and you'd heard it that somehow that the male, and Gladys of course was sick too, and she got checked out in Meadville, and then we got our doctor in Erie, but you were born in Jamestown. But then we took a job at electroplating, and you were born here in Jamestown. But we were.
Were you ready for this?
We were, huh?
You were ready for children?
Oh yeah. We were dumb, I guess, and naive to the point of that everything would fall in place. And I think I'd always worked. I mean, I never had a problem working. I got jobs and anything I ever wanted to do. I'd worked at Nelson Brothers Lumber in between when I left Gunnell's for service. I worked. I always could find jobs. I never had a problem with jobs. And I think my mother always said that she just knew that I could provide. And it just went that way. We didn't worry about anything, I guess. And we didn't borrow any money. I mean, it was on our own. And we bought a car before we left Meadville.
So while in Meadville, mother worked?
She worked for Sears catalog office.
Mm-hmm.
She had a great boss. And Mrs. Christopher.
Yeah.
Things there too. She bought tickets, or they had to buy every business for Eddie Dushin, and he was in Meadville, and he was upstairs of some building down there, and I'll never forget it because Gladys and I, of course, got the tickets from her and went. And what an entertainer he was, man! And intermission came, and Eddie Dushin would not leave his band. He stayed right there, and the band, they rested, and not Eddie Dushin. And he was just a great guy. And we danced, of course, and had a good time, and hung around his piano on the intermission. It was in our young lives. That was a big night, which you'll never forget. Eddie Dushin.
Stayed there how long in that apartment?
Well, until we went away to Erie. I got a job with Kresge's
after you graduated.
And they were told Bob Shannon or Bob Sherman, was a placement guy, and I got more jobs than any senior in our class that year. I had a job with Keystone View, I had the Kresge job, and the Kresge's was the big store in Erie.
Back to Jamestown, you knew you had the job when you
Yep.
came back here.
Yeah.
Where did you live?
We lived with Otto and Rachel because they had room for us, and then we've got the basement rooms on Sturgis Street, and
Who was your landlord?
Emil Carlson, who was my mother's uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked out good. It was a musty place down in there, but it was furnished, and all that stuff there, so we got by. And then, of course, you were born in January 11th, and snowy night, and in fact I couldn't get my car out of the driveway because the driveway was like this, so I had to run up and get Dad's car and take Gladys to the hospital. And you were born in the afternoon, and then when she was in the hospital about a week, and then we stayed with her folks.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very awkward because it wasn't really set up for us to be there, but we did. It was better for Gladys. We were there probably a week, and we came home, and we were up at Otto and Rachel's for another week or so, and then we went back to our apartment with you, and then we were on our own. It was quite an adventure.